In the small, forgotten town of Black Hollow, nestled deep within a dense forest, whispers of a sinister presence had lingered for decades. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones of a man who had once lived on the outskirts of town, a man known only as Mr. Crowley. He was said to be a charismatic figure with piercing eyes and a voice that could charm even the most skeptical soul, but behind his charm lay a darkness that no one dared to confront. Years ago, Mr. Crowley had formed a secretive group, a cult that met in the dead of night in the ruins of an old chapel deep in the woods. The cult was rumored to worship ancient, malevolent entities, offering sacrifices in exchange for power and forbidden knowledge. The townsfolk claimed to hear eerie chants echoing through the trees, and some even swore they saw shadowy figures moving in the moonlight. One fateful night, a young woman named Eliza, new to Black Hollow and unaware of its dark history, decided to investigate the rumors. She had always been drawn to the macabre, and the stories of Mr. Crowley and his cult were too intriguing to ignore. Armed with nothing but a flashlight and her curiosity, she ventured into the forest. As she approached the crumbling chapel, the air grew colder, and the silence became oppressive. The chapel's doors creaked open as if inviting her inside. The walls were adorned with strange symbols, and the floor was stained with what looked like dried blood. At the center of the room stood an altar, surrounded by black candles that flickered with an unnatural light. "You shouldn't have come here." Eliza turned to see a tall, shadowy figure emerge from the darkness. It was Mr. Crowley himself, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly intensity. Eliza tried to run, but the doors slammed shut, trapping her inside. Mr. Crowley began to chant in a language she couldn't understand, and the symbols on the walls began to glow. The ground beneath her feet trembled, and she felt an overwhelming sense of dread. Shadows swirled around her, taking on grotesque shapes as the air grew thick with the stench of sulfur. Just as she thought all hope was lost, a loud crash echoed through the chapel. The townsfolk, armed with torches and weapons, had come to confront the cult. They had heard Eliza's screams and knew they had to act. A fierce battle ensued, and in the chaos, Eliza managed to escape. The chapel was set ablaze, and the cult was seemingly destroyed. But as Eliza looked back, she saw Mr. Crowley standing amidst the flames, unharmed. He smiled at her, a smile that promised this was not the end. To this day, the people of Black Hollow swear they still hear Mr. Crowley's voice in the wind, and some claim to see his shadow moving through the forest at night. The cult may have been disbanded, but the darkness he brought to the town remains, waiting for the next curious soul to awaken it.